Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So it's Tuesday, so that means the handicap marks came out. I've had a look and I've only actually found 4 horses that have caught my eye, and one of those actually hasn't dropped in the handicap. He's gone up a pound, and that's Bundoran, who's on the screen. But I do want to talk to you about him because I highlighted him when he dropped, I think he dropped 4 or 5 pounds recently, and I suggested he was then quite well handicapped. And I thought he's run a really good race at Sandown, and I think he's bumped into one. So even though he's gone back up a pound, I don't think it's beyond him to win it off his current mark. And I've found a race that I think will be suitable for him. So let's talk about him. Bundoran finished second. He got beat by a horse called Gunsight Ridge for Ollie Murphy. And interestingly, if you listen to Ollie Murphy after the race, he said, they were shocked that Gunsight Ridge had been beaten at was it Plumpton or something like that. It was wherever he got beat the time before. Let's just have a quick run through and get to that so that I actually give you the information. Gunsight Ridge was being beaten at Exeter, and they were shocked that he got beat, but look who he got beat by. L'Empress. Now the third was miles behind, the rest of them were miles behind. L'Empress was the only one who beat Gunsight Ridge. That was at Exeter. So if we click on L'Empress and we can see what L'Empress has done since, or L'Empress. Let's have a look. That was at Exeter. He's won at Ascot and he's won at Cheltenham since. And now he's, 8 or 9 to 1 for the 2.5 novice at the Cheltenham Festival. So Gunsight Ridge was beaten by a horse well ahead of his mark. Gunsight Ridge has beaten Bundoran, but hasn't beaten him far. He's only beaten him about a length and a bit. And there was, I think, 9 lengths back to Moonlighter, who had been tipped up by quite a few people. He'd obviously ran a good race or a couple of good races at Sandown before. So I think Bundoran's very interesting going forward, even at his age. And it would be a stretch to say that they can go and win a Grand Annual off this really low, what's he now? He's 135. I think he ran in it last year. He pulled up off 150. It would be a stretch to say he can go and win that. But I definitely think that they can look at returning to Sandown on the Thursday, the 17th of February, for this handicap here. It's a 2 mile. It's for horses rated 0 to 135, which is what he is. He would get in off 135. So he'd be taking on lesser opposition, as in inferior opposition, back at a course that we know he can run well at. He ran perfectly well there. He probably ran a recent best for him, without a doubt. And you can kind of judge that by he reduced 85% in the run. Last time he was anywhere near that was back here at Cheltenham. What's that? Is that a Grand Annual? Let's have a look. The 2020 Queen Mother Champion Chase. Wow. So the last time he ran anywhere near as good as he did at Sandown was when he ran in the Champion Chase. And I'm not saying he would have finished 3rd in the Champion Chase, but the last time he looked like he was able to get involved was the Champion Chase in 2020. He's finally shown a little bit of form again, and against inferior opposition back at Sandown, I think this is where they'll go with him. I really do. It's not a bad prize. They could win that and then potentially even go back for the Johnny Henderson Grand Annual. I wouldn't be rushing to back him for the Grand Annual at all, but I would be keen on him in that Sandown race if he turns back up off 135. So let's move on to horses that did drop in the handicap. And the first one I want to talk about is Sir Ivan. Now, this I do like to look at. And look, he reduced 94.03% in the run because he travelled really, really well in the Veterans final at Sandown. And he finished 3rd. The handicapper dropped him £3 for that, which I thought was very interesting. He's been running relatively well for multiple races since winning at Newbury, and that's where I think they'll go back with him. Back to this race at Newbury, off a £3 lower mark than what he ran off here and ran really well. It looks obvious, but the fact he's dropped £3 and then can stay in a Veterans. Now I know they drop him for running in Veterans because they think if they go out of a veteran company, they might struggle. But he doesn't have to. He can stay in a Veterans race, go back to Newbury. I think he'll go really close in that. And surely that's the plan for I don't know who trains this horse. Harry Fry. Yeah, surely that's the plan. Go back to this Newbury race off a £3 lower mark than when he ran third in the Veterans final. The next horse I want to talk about is ASO. He dropped £2 to 147, and that's the same mark as what he ran off at Haydock here when he was second to Black Lion. Now, granted, he was quite well beaten by Black Lion, but Black Lion has since won again. Before the race, there was some suggestion that ASO doesn't really want the soft heavy going. I'm not sure on that, but there was a strong suggestion that he doesn't act as well going right-handed, and he's probably demonstrated that again. If you have a look through his races here, we've got Haydock left-handed, Cheltenham left-handed, Aintree left-handed, 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 left to left, right. Kempton, he was fourth. Huntingdon, Wetherby back to left, Cheltenham back to left, Ascot right. He finished sixth, having been to left-handed courses and won. So maybe he does want left-handed courses. Where can they go? Well, it's an easy one for him, surely. Haydock, Peter Marsh at Haydock. He ran well here on the heavy going, over the course and distance. Why not go for the big handicap now at Haydock? It didn't work at Sandown. He's dropped back to that 147. You know, if he took on Black Lion, he would be significantly better off. Yeah, surely he goes to Haydock. That looks a no-brainer to me. The final horse, yep, there was only 4 and there was only 3 that actually dropped in the handicap that caught my eye, was Hold the Note. Now, he was having his first run for his new trainer, which is now Evan Williams. Is that Evan Williams or Ewan Williams? Ewan Willans. Apologies to Ewan Williams for getting his name wrong. And he pulled up. That was his first run since April of last year. You could kind of forgive him the run a little bit. And could we forgive him the run at Aintree? Yeah. Might have just been one too many runs for the season. He'd ran well at Cheltenham when he was fourth in the Kim Muir. Just forgive him that run. But he's dropped now to a mark of 130. Now, when he ran here at Cheltenham, he was running off 138, and he ran well. He then went to Aintree off 140, and he disappointed. But go back over fences because he'd returned over hurdles. And there's a few races that he could run in. Now, if you have a look here, he's finished second at Newbury. If we actually click on the race. He was second at Newbury behind Enrillo. Now, Enrillo was travelling really well in the Ladbroke Trophy and was quite well supported for the Ladbroke Trophy this season back at Newbury. So the fact that he took a horse on, what did he go off in the Ladbrokes? He went off 8-1 for the Ladbroke Trophy, Enrillo, having won the Newbury race and then running really well in the Bet365 Gold Cup. So, for Hold the Note, let's go back to Newbury. And there's 3 races that would kind of interest me. Now, obviously, because he's not won, if we just load up Hold the Note again, he's not won over fences yet. Last time he won was back here in a hurdle race. That means he's a novice, so he could still run in the novice handicap and he could return to that race he finished second in. But I just doubt whether he quite stays the 3-mile trip. So there's 3 races that are interesting for me. There's this 2 mile 7 for horses rated 0 to 130. Now, obviously, he's 130, so he would be taking on inferior opposition or supposed inferior opposition, and that would certainly give him a chance. He could go to the novice that he ran in last year over the 2 mile 7 and 86-yard trip. That's a possibility. Or he could go here for the, where is it? Here it is. Another novice. It's a 2 mile 6 for 0 to 135 horses. So there's a class category, so they can't be rated higher than 135 as a novice. This race here, they could be. I don't know whether he quite stays the 3-mile trip, so I think this trip will suit him. And if he does stay the 3-mile trip, the way he runs prominently, I think that will suit him, and he'll be able to bring his stamina into play over that 2 mile 6 trip. Personally, I'd like to see him in this race, the 2 mile 6 on the 19th of January. It's whether that comes up a bit soon. If it does, then wait until the 20th of February and run in this handicap here. If he turns up in this novice, I wouldn't be against him either, but this is probably the harder of the 3 options. So there's just 4 horses that I'm interested in. Hold the Note back at Newbury, don't know which race. Sir Ivan surely goes to Newbury as well for the Veterans Handicap off a £3 lower mark than when he ran well at Sandown. ASO back to Haydock, doesn't like right-handed tracks maybe, back to a left-handed, back at Haydock where he's run well before, and he dropped £2. And Bundoran, although he didn't drop, he actually went up £1. I think he's bumped into one, and I think there's a race for him at Sandown on the 17th of February. So thanks for listening. Hopefully there's some future winners there.